Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast, featuring inspiring interviews with Etsy shop owners, hosted by Ijama Elazu.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijama, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the podcast. My guest this week is a returning guest. Her name is Anna McLoughlin. We last had our previous conversation back in November of 2017. So at the time you're hearing this, it's almost 3 years to the last time we spoke. And so much has happened in 3 years, just talking about 2020 alone. But Anna runs the Etsy shop, Anna Fine Jewellery, and she also has her own independent website, annafinejewelry.co.uk. So we're just going to catch up and see what Anna has been up to and how things are going now. So Anna, thank you so much for coming back on the podcast and being my guest again.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, you're so welcome. I really do enjoy doing these catch-up episodes because I like to one, just see how people are doing and, you know, how things have changed or evolved and how you make adjustments to changing, you know, times and a growing business. Yeah. And then also, I really want to know how you are doing too. So just catch us up. How have you been? What's going on with your business? How are things going on that end?
Okay. I'm good. I can't believe it was 2017.
I know.
I'm just trying to. So where's that time gone?
Yeah.
Anyway. The one big thing, I guess, the biggest thing is that I've moved out of my home workshop into a studio. So I was always calling it a workshop, and then somebody that I met. I was chatting to someone in the pub and they said, "Oh, I hear you're moving to a new studio." And I thought, "Oh, that sounds posh. I'm going to keep that." So now it's a studio. So yeah, I've moved house. So moved areas completely, and then discovered that there was this craft centre that was a mile away from where we were moving to, Taurus Crafts, and they happened to have some workshops up for rent, so I went to have a look at those and took one of those on. That was last year. I'm not quite sure what's happened between 2017 and then. It's kind of a bit of a blur.
So wait, what's a craft? This craft shop you're talking about, is that just like a space specifically for makers?
So it's a craft center that it's kind of like a site with lots of different units on it. Mm-hmm. So it's like lots of small shops, and some of them are more like shops, and some of them are makers. So there's a person there that. She's another jeweler, but has branched out into making soy wax candles. There's a stone carver. There's a glass artist there. There's an antique shop. There's a cafe. So it's kind of like a destination day out type of place. Oh. And I haven't got a shop. I've got more of a workshop. So there's, but yeah, it's just kind of lots of sort of small units there that people can rent.
Oh, okay. So can the units be also used as commercial space? So you can either just use it to make, or can people actually come and buy?
Yeah, people do come. Some of them are. Mine isn't. Mine's down as a workshop, because I'm running workshops for people to come. Then I can't really be a shop and then say, "Oh, actually, I'm shut today because I've got some people coming in to make wedding rings." So some are there as retail units that people come. But what I am planning to do is have. I've actually just moved to another unit within the same site, down to because of COVID and needing to have somewhere a bit bigger. Yeah. But what I've got now is my door, when I was first there, didn't open onto the public area. I was in one of the workshops, So although people could come, they had to make an appointment, and I had to sort of guide them around the back and sort of say, this is where I am.
Okay.
Whereas now I've actually got a door that opens onto the public area. So although I'm still not a shop, I'm planning to do some sort of like open studio days. So on those days you won't need to make an appointment. So if people are wandering around, then they can pop their head around the door and say hello.
Oh, I see. And so that's what or I should say, is that what I saw going on Twitter with you when you were posting pictures in progress and getting the space set up? Is that the unit?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So was that the recent pictures? Kind of a few weeks ago.
About a month ago or so.
So that's it. So I had my first unit. I had wasn't massively different, but it was all brand new. The one that I first had, and then the one that I've taken on, it's part of it's in sort of there's a lot of really old buildings, and the one I've now moved into used to be a pottery. So the floor was completely covered in clay. So there's been some work to do in there, and I've had to do a bit of painting and stuff as well. So yeah, that was sort of moving from my first nice brand new one into this other one, which is bigger.
Okay. And so is the goal now for and we're recording this during the COVID pandemic time, and so almost everywhere still has restrictions on movement and gathering.
Yeah.
But is your goal to use the space not just to as you're making space for your jewelry, but also to do your workshops?
Yeah. I mean, the first one, the original unit, I was doing that in there as well, but it was smaller. So we couldn't. There was absolutely no way I could do 2-meter social distancing in there. And I was looking at kind of putting. Well, I have got a screen in my new one as well, and I spoke to the people that the management of Taurus Crafts. And what I also had was there was a door directly opposite to me, so it was always quite busy with people coming in and out of that one, and me coming in and out of mine. And if I then put a couple of other people that are doing a workshop in the mix, it was potential for sort of bumping into each other. And I just suggested to them that maybe we could put some sort of one-way system. And then they came back and said, well, actually, this unit's empty and it's bigger, and it's going to be in a better place for you anyway. So do you want to swap? So I said, oh, yes, okay, that works well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got now more space. And so yeah, I've got my two original student benches that were in the other unit, but it's just going to make it a bit easier for us to all move around each other. When I'm allowed to, well, I think I am allowed to start up running workshops again. There doesn't seem to have been much guidance from our government on when you can and can't do things. It's all a case of it's all advice rather than
strict guidelines.
Giving people than strict guidelines, and it's not really very helpful when you're trying to keep everybody safe. But so I'm hoping to start that up again in September.
Okay, cool. Now, can you tell us about these workshops that you run? Who are they for? What's the setup? What happens when people attend them?
So I was asked for many years. I'd been asked, can we come and make our wedding rings? I don't know if it's a thing in America or not, but here it's really popular for couples to go and make their own wedding rings. And I already did lots of wedding fairs where you turn up and it's like a craft fair but for weddings. So you turn up and you have a table, and I'd have all my rings out, and I got asked so many times. So when the space came up at Taurus Crafts, and I thought, oh, that's great. I can move out of home, because it's never great having people come when you're at home, and it's like, what do you do with them? And it's lunchtime, and so it's and they have to keep tidying up and all that kind of stuff. So I took this place on for that reason, that I could then run these workshops. So basically, engaged couples, or they don't have to be, anyone can come really, but usually it's couples that are engaged, And they get in touch with me, and we have a little chat beforehand about what sort of thing they want to make. And then I order all the metal in, and then they come and spend the day. I stand there and sort of help them out and give them instructions, and they do all the hard work and get their hands dirty. And I go home with nice clean hands, and they've got the satisfaction that they've made their own wedding rings themselves.
Oh, so you don't touch them at all. You just guide them on how to make them?
Well, no, I do end up doing a little bit, but I do as minimal as I need to as possible, because the idea is that they are doing it, they're making them themselves.
Okay.
You know, that's part of the attraction, or the main part of the attraction, that they've done the work, and then they're wearing those rings every day, knowing that it's something that they've made. And quite often they make each other's as well, so you know that kind of adds a nice little bit of romance into it, that you know that they know that their partner has actually made their ring.
Yeah. You know, I'm not aware of that here in the US, but you might be starting a trend.
You never know.
You never know. So how do you market an event? Well, I don't know if I'd refer to it as an event, because I guess couples come to you, but how did you get the word out that you were going to be doing this, and how do people typically find you and sign up for this?
Well, it was more they were asking me.
Wow.
And I was doing wedding fairs fairly regularly anyway. And I'd got my Etsy shop and my website, and I advertise. There's a magazine called Rock and Roll Bride that's a national magazine that I've been advertising in. So it was more that people were asking me, and I knew lots of people already did it. You know, it would be advertised in magazines and sort of online and on you know, the jewelers' websites and things that you could do this, and things like where you buy experience days. I don't know. I mean, that's a thing that's quite popular here. There's various websites where you go on and there's all sorts of experiences, a bit like Airbnb, but for experiences.
Yeah, like Groupon.
Yeah, Groupon. Yeah, so there are people on Groupon. You know, it was on there. So there are people on Groupon that are offering it. So it's not something new. But I guess people would find a designer that you like, and you want to go to them to make your rings, so that you've got kind of their style and their influence. So yeah, it was people asking me rather than me having to promote it.
That's the best kind, really. When the demand comes to you and all you have to do is just show up. Well, you know, you have your talent and everything, but like you don't have to put that much effort into marketing, because the demand is already there.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'd got kind of a running list of names of people that, if I start up, you know, I'd kept a list of, if I start up, I'll get in touch with you. So I had a few people to get in touch with initially, and I changed my marketing material, my flyers a little bit, so that one half was about me as a designer maker, and the other half was come and make your wedding rings.
Nice.
And that was it, really.
Yeah. So you never do any advertising. Do you think once you finish working your way through your waiting list that you might start to do advertising, or do you think that in this case word of mouth is probably what's going to carry this?
Oh, I do advertise. So I obviously there was, I started it up because people were asking me, so I had those initial people to contact. But I do when I go to wedding fairs, which I was still doing. Obviously there aren't any wedding fairs or any weddings at the moment. But I've got leaflets that I take to those. I have put a listing in my Etsy shop to pay your deposit for make your own wedding rings. So I've put it in there. I have to put it more expensive in my Etsy shop because of the fees. So I haven't sold any through there, but it's on there that I do it. And the advert that I put in the wedding magazine has got on there that I run make your own wedding ring workshops as well. And obviously there's a page on my website about it. So hopefully the Google Google bots are sending that out to people.
Find that. Yeah. Now, how significant, if at all, are the costs involved in doing this type of workshop?
So the costs to the people coming.
And to you, really.
So I mean, there was a bit of a setup cost for me in that I had to get another couple of jewellery benches so that I've got space for two people to sit side by side. And so, it was, I kind of put it down as part of my moving costs. So I bought two ready-made student jewellery benches, and they need a chair each. So, it was that kind of thing, sort of buying the furniture that was needed.
Yeah.
And a bit more equipment. So a lot beforehand, I mean, I was kind of letting them use some of my tools, but because of COVID, I've invested in buying extra tools that will just be used for the couples that come in.
Oh. Do they get to keep them?
No, they don't get to keep them.
Okay.
No, they'll have to be cleaned afterwards and
Oh, okay.
And use. I did look into letting them keep their aprons. But because I had some made with my logo on, so when I take photos, obviously they've got an apron to protect their clothes in case they drop anything hot on it.
Yeah.
And I did look into whether I let them keep those, but it's quite expensive to get just two done with the logo on, and it was working out about £20 an apron or something. And I thought, it's too much to kind of absorb that cost. Yeah. And you have to put it on the cost of the workshop, which just pushes that price up. So so I kind of dumped that idea. Okay. So now I wash them. But
so practical.
So but yeah, I mean, it's just the initial setup of tools and things. Yeah. But hopefully I'm recouping some of that cost through running the workshops.
Yeah, and then of course the materials. Do you purchase the materials for the couples, or do they supply their own?
I've bought them all so far.
Okay.
If they've got oh no, I haven't. There was one couple that wanted to melt down some old rings, old jewelry that they got. So we did that as part of it. All the rest of the ones so far, I've bought the materials for them. So that's our initial chat, and then we'll sort of decide on. I mean, most of the time they're making a plain wedding band, so they've just got to decide what type of metal they want, what colour they want that metal in, and how wide they want it. And I can then buy the metal from the bullion dealers at wholesale cost, and I just charge them the cost that whatever it costs me. I just charge them that. Okay. So they're getting their metal and it at cost. So depending on what they do, it probably works out a bit cheaper for them because they've got less labour, because it's just paying for the day of my time.
Yeah. I like this idea. I really do. Now, for anyone who wants to check it out, you can read more about the make your own or each other's wedding rings on Anna's website. It's annafindjewellery.co.uk / make your own wedding rings. And I will link to it so it's easy for you to get to. Also, if you want to check it out on Etsy, the listing is called Make Your Own Wedding Rings, and it's in Anna's Etsy shop, which is Anna Fine Jewelry. I think this is such a nice experience. I never thought of, offering an experience through one's Etsy shop, but it is handmade. It is a handmade experience. So
yeah.
I
think I did look at it. I mean, I searched before I put it on there.
Yeah.
And there was one other, I think, that came up that was listed on there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I have looked into doing Airbnb are doing experiences, and somebody said to me you should put it on that, and I did look into that, and I can't quite remember why I didn't put it on there in the end. Probably just life got in the way and it didn't happen. But yeah, I might well put it on other kind of experience websites, but obviously then they start taking a cut of my profits then. So
yep.
While I've got enough people just coming and finding me, I probably don't really need to do that.
Yeah. Nice. I love that. Now, when we talked last time, You mentioned Folksy, which is an alternative to Etsy. Are you still involved on with Folksy? Do you still sell on that particular site?
No, I haven't. I haven't sold anything on there for years and years and years.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I did get an inquiry through there a little while ago, and I can't remember if I've still actually got a page on there, but because I did ask them to close it.
Mm.
But it's still in existence as far as I know.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not. I'm not on it.
Okay.
I'm selling on there.
Okay. So another big change that you've made between 2017 and now was back then you had tried Pattern by Etsy, which is Etsy's solution for anyone who wants to have their own website. And it's basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it's connected to your Etsy shop. It pulls in all your listings, and you can have a custom domain name, but it's powered by Etsy. But you've left that. Now you have a brand new, fabulous looking website. It's the annafindjewelry.co.uk. Oh, you're welcome. When did you decide to leave Pattern, and how hard was it to transition to this other platform? And what's the platform? Sorry, I'm throwing all the questions out at you.
That's all right.
Well,
I might have forgotten the first one, but that's all right.
Okay, let me start with just with this one. Where is your site hosted now? What did you use to build this one on?
That's with Squarespace,
This
like
is
lots of other people
Squarespace.
use. Yeah, so
Wow.
it's nothing to do with me. It's all templates. I just copy and paste into the boxes.
Then I have to say, not all Squarespace templates are created equally. I don't know if that's the proper word, but yes.
Yeah.
In general, I do like Squarespace, but I've noticed that some sites just pop more than others built on Squarespace.
Yeah, they do. You're right. And I've been through so many different templates on there, and I've kind of there's things I'm not quite happy with. Like I want where I've got on my main page, and it's got like a big white box around the text, and I quite like that box to be a bit translucent so you can see a bit of the picture. And I haven't worked out how to do that yet. But I'm actually on. I've always had a website alongside my Etsy shop, and I don't know if I was on Squarespace when we spoke last time. I might have just got it. But yeah, there's loads of templates, and I've been through so many, and sort of tweaking things and moving things around. So I can't remember the name of the template that my Squarespace website was. But I have changed quite a lot of the sort of site settings on there.
Okay. And do you do it all yourself?
Get it to look. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How easy was the transition from Pattern to Squarespace?
It wasn't. I've always had a website. It was. I kind of had. Who was I with before? I can't remember who I was with before, but I did have a separate website, and I put the Pattern website kind of onto that. And they were sort of it wasn't really a transition from one to the other. They were sort of running alongside each other. So it kind of just got to the point with the Pattern one, where I thought, well, I'm paying my $15 a month or whatever it was for this. I'm also paying my £10 a month for my Squarespace website, or whatever. It might be a bit more than that. And they're not, they kind of, do I need to have both? And it's more updating as well. So part of it was trying to sort of streamline what I need to do, and so to sort of reduce my workload a bit, because it was just sort of checking all these different sites, and they all get out of date.
Yeah. Okay, so you streamlined everything, and now you have just this one and your Etsy shop. That's it.
Yeah, and there's a link on my website on the top. I've just got a small link that says Etsy.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, basically the Pattern website, it was okay, and I did play around with the templates and things on that, and I know they had some updates, didn't they, where you could change things around a bit, but I couldn't get it how I wanted it to look.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, in the end, I've got essentially a shop on my website that was the pattern website, but I'm not happy with how it looks. And so I might as well just send a link straight to my Etsy shop.
Okay. So on your website now, if anyone sees, so they're looking in the gallery or they see the rings that you make, if they want to actually make a purchase, is there a way other than the link at the top to your Etsy shop? Is there any other way that you redirect them to purchase it through Etsy?
No, it's just the link to the Etsy shop. So I'm looking on my own website now as well. So everything in my gallery are all commissions. So those are all rings that have been made and sold anyway. But yeah, it's just a little link to my Etsy shop at the top.
Okay. But if someone wants to commission you to make a ring, they would do it through your website.
Yeah, I mean, I get both. So yeah, there's a contact form on the website. I've purposely not got my email address on there.
Yeah.
Because I was getting all sorts of spam through. So yeah, I get contact through my website, and it's probably about half and half for commissions through the website and through Etsy combos.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my next question. So it's about even where your orders
well,
are
and
coming
then
from.
there's social media in the mix as well there. So I'm getting increasing amounts through Instagram.
Okay.
And it's weird because I've had quite a lot of people sending me messages on Instagram that actually want to buy. I get a lot of engagement on Facebook, but it's more people want to buy on Instagram, even though maybe not quite so much engagement. There's lots of this is really lovely, this is gorgeous on Facebook, but not so many people saying they want to buy.
Okay. They're just browsing essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when someone approaches you on Instagram who does want to buy, where's your preferred place to send them to? Do you send them to your website to start the process of commissioning you to make something, or do you send them to your Etsy shop?
I send them to, well, if they've sent me a message on Instagram, then I will generally give them my email address and say, can you email me? Partly because there's just too many different places with messages coming from, and it's so easy to miss them. So yeah, I would generally ask them to email me what they're looking for. Okay. Or if it's like a comment on a post or something, then I usually refer them to the website.
Okay. Nice. I like your process. It sounds like it's well balanced and not overwhelming.
That's kind of what it's all about, was trying to, I mean, there's just messages come at you from all over the place. And I think we spoke about before the fact that I turned off the messages on my Facebook page altogether. So you can't actually send me a Facebook message through my business page. It just goes straight to the website, because I was just getting messages all over the place, and then you end up missing them.
Yeah, I know. I have that problem too. I actually have not turned off my messages, and I know, yes, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Now,
and then people get upset because they think that you're ignoring them, and
know.
You're not. It's just like there's one of me, and there's just too many messages in too many different places.
I know. That's why now, especially just in 2020, where it finally occurred to me, I really can't be everywhere. And even though I know I have a presence on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram, it's more than I can handle as one person. And so now when I end each podcast, I try and say, this is the one place that's the best to reach me, or just send me a message through the contact form on the website. Those will always come to me. Those I will always eventually read and respond to. But like, I know for sure Facebook is, I can't tell you the last time I was actually on Facebook personally or for anything.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same. I don't use it personally anymore. It's there as a business page, and I use I use an app called Later for
Oh,
doing all my
yeah.
posts.
Mm-hmm.
So that just goes to everywhere from that now. So I don't even have to look at it. And I'm on a few groups on Facebook for kind of, doing up the house and that kind of stuff,
So
and
this.
recipes
Oh,
and
okay. So for more personal, not work related
yeah,
stuff.
but
Okay.
I don't ever post. I don't ever post anything on. And I'm on a couple of jewelry groups as well, so jewelry
Yeah.
making groups. So which can be helpful, but yeah, try to avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah, Facebook, there used to be an app for groups, which I loved because
Yeah,
it was much less distracting than going to the full Facebook website. So when there was the app, I was a lot more active in groups because the app just listed all the groups you were in. You could just go
yeah,
in, interact, and do stuff. And then Facebook decided they wanted everybody to come to the main website and navigate from there, and it was
yeah.
too cumbersome. I didn't like. I wish they would bring back the groups app because then I would be a lot more active.
They can't show you any adverts on it, can they? I suppose that's why they've got rid of
No,
it.
they couldn't. Yeah. Oh yeah, that probably did have something to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you use the app Later to do your social media scheduling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you just feed it with posts once and that's it, or is it grabbing new information to share?
So I put a post on there as I would do if I was doing it on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. But I put that, so I upload the photos to that, and I put the text on. And what you can do if you do it, is you do it on a browser. You can have all 3 or 4 Pinterest on there as well, actually, which I really need to get better at. But so I've got all 4 platforms sat there in front of me, and you can just it copies and pastes the same text, and then you can see them all, and you can edit each one, sort of looking at all 4 at once. But the same picture can go to each one, and then you schedule the time, and it just sends it for you. So you can be really efficient and do loads and loads and loads all at once. And it will even kind of auto schedule the best times and things. Although I'm not usually very efficient, and it tends to be kind of sat there. It's what I do when I get up in the morning. I sit in bed with my cup of tea, and I do my social media posts for the day.
Okay. Oh, every day.
Well, yeah. I mean, the plan was what I should do really is just spend one day doing it, but it doesn't always work out like that.
Yeah. So when you schedule them in Later, like each platform has different requirements for,
Yeah.
Okay. So how does Later account for that? And for anyone who
Yeah.
wants to know, I meant like the graphics. So one site has, they prefer square, and another one prefers long horizontal or something.
Yeah, I've tended to just post everything as square.
Okay.
Because I can't be bothered
easier.
with changing all the sizes of the pictures, to be quite honest. So yes, it all tends to. I was trying to do nice Pinterest ones because they want them like kind of longer pictures, don't they? And actually, recently I've thought, well, what's happening is I'm just not posting anything on Pinterest because it's extra work, and I've got to go and then alter this photograph. So I sort of came to the conclusion it was better to post a square picture than just not to post anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the moment everything's square.
Yeah. At least you're getting stuff out there. So.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Have you played around with video on Pinterest? Because that's a new thing now.
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
Or on Etsy. They've been sending me. I signed up to the beta thing for video, and I haven't actually got around to putting any on.
Yeah, so far I have one video on there, and I can't say that I see that it's made a difference, but
Right.
it's one video on one listing, so that's hardly a valid sample size.
Yeah, I've got a few that are ready to that I could put on there that are kind of ready to go, but I take them when I'm at work, and then I think, oh, I'll do that right when I get home. I'm gonna upload that video, and then you get home and you've got to cook dinner and sort out
Yeah,
children and yeah, and
yeah.
then it's 10 o'clock at night, and it's oh, I'm not
And then
working
you're
now.
tired. Right,
Yeah,
exactly. Yes. But I am glad that they finally introduced the video feature. I do think it has a lot of potential. And
yeah.
it just, it takes time. I think, and I said this in another episode, I think for me why I've been slow to upload more is that it's not yet, you can't yet do it through the app. You have to
Oh,
do it on
okay,
a desktop. And
right.
I just feel that it's so much easier because I can record a video with my phone, and I can, if I
Yeah,
could upload it through the app, I would be doing videos, a lot
yeah,
more
because
often.
you take the pictures on your phone, don't you?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Everything.
and yeah, you just want to do the whole lot. I didn't know you couldn't do it from your phone yet.
Yes. Not yet. And I'm hoping that's an upgrade that they'll introduce soon. Because I think that would make it so, well, for me, it would make it so much easier. It wasn't so
Yeah,
hard to do it, like, send the video to myself by email, then go onto my computer and then download the email and then put it, in my listing. But it was just too many steps, and
yeah.
it
See,
was
I
too
guess I'm just being
cumbersome.
lazy because I don't even have to do that because iCloud just syncs all the pictures and the videos. So as soon as I get
Um,
home, anything that I've taken on my phone is just there. Um, I haven't I haven't even got a computer anymore. I've got an iPad Pro, so that's kind of my computer.
oh,
Um,
nice.
but the photos are just there when I open it that I will have taken earlier in the day.
Oh, so yes, that makes it easier. I don't use my iCloud. I Okay, that's a whole different topic for a different
Oh, that
podcast, but
yeah.
yes, I have issues with the cloud.
It does help that my partner is does Mac support for a living, so he's got his
Oh,
own
okay.
business doing Apple Mac remote support. So I get
Oh,
free help with all that.
okay. See, if I had my own live-in Mac support person, then yes, I would
Yeah,
use the cloud. But right now, I'm like, nope, nope.
things just get updated by themselves. I come down and it's oh thanks, this has all sorted itself out. It's like the magic Mac fairy.
Yes. Now, one of the things that I know you really um promote or like to highlight with what you do is that you use ethical jewelry. Can you
Yeah.
just explain or remind us what is ethical jewelry? What is your policy around the type of jewelry, the materials that you use for what you create?
Yeah. I mean, I've got more so with this over the last few years as well. And so basically, I will ask lots of questions about where all my materials come from.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I'm sure the jewelers have the same thing. People get in touch with you going, "Oh, well, we've got lots of diamonds. We can sell you really cheap. Would you like to buy them?" And I always say to them, "Where have they come from?" And they can usually tell you the country where they've come from,
Mm-hmm.
but that's it. So unless sort of someone can tell me exactly which mine it's come from and who's cut it and then where's it been since that, then I just generally say no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I do loads of remodeling work. So I get customers, clients will bring me their old jewelry or send me their old jewelry in the post, and then I melt them down or I'll just alter them sometimes as they are and make those into new jewelry. But also if I have to buy any new metal, then I make sure that's recycled metal, and that's got a lot easier over the last year or so. The main supplier that I used to buy my metal from, or that I still buy my metal from, which is Cookson's, have made all of their gold and silver, or all their gold at least anyway, is now recycled. It used to be that they had like a separate section, and they had a small amount of fair trade gold, which they still got, and a small amount of recycled silver and recycled gold. But it's now all 100% recycled, which is brilliant. I mean, officially, most metal before that was probably mostly recycled. Somebody said to me once about jewelers being the ultimate recyclers anyway, because our raw materials are so expensive. Everything is kept. I've got little pots with all the dust in from when I'm using different metals, and then I sweep the dust up if I'm swapping to a different metal. It goes in the pot, and then that can be melted down or sold back to the bullion dealer. So everything's kept and kind of goes around and around in a circle and just gets remelted down, whether it's me doing that or I sell it back to the main metal dealer, and and they do it.
Oh, nice. Okay. Now, does it in the end cost you more because you're so particular about the sources of the raw materials, the metals that you use?
For metal, it used to. Okay. And if somebody wants fair trade, so that's freshly mined metal, but that I'll know where it's come from, and that the people that have mined it have been treated fairly and paid a fair wage for it. There's been some horrible things. I watched a film the other day about lots of mines and all the accidents that happen, and the way the people that are doing the work are treated really awfully and paid peanuts. So if it's fair trade metal, then that does still cost more. If it's recycled, as I say, most of it, the place where I buy it from, they've made all of their metal recycled now. So no, I don't think that's any more expensive. Stones wise, it is more expensive. If you're buying mined gemstones, because again, I've got sort of two companies that I know can fully trace back the stones where they've come from, so I know that they're looking after the people that are mining them and the people that are cutting them. Okay. So those are a bit more expensive. Lab grown diamonds that I use as well, I think those are a bit cheaper than buying mined diamonds. And I use a lot of recycled stones as well, so quite a lot of my stones I get for nothing. There's another shop where I'm based at Taurus now, and she sells antique jewellery sometimes, and anything that she gets in that it's not good enough to sell, she's given me little bags with stones in and said, "Oh, I don't need these. Do you want them?" Oh, wow. So some of them I actually get for nothing. But there are various companies. I just found another one yesterday that sort of auction sites for trade auction sites for recycled stones as well. So those can be, sometimes it's more expensive, sometimes it's free.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw it was a show on Amazon Prime, and even though the story wasn't the main part of the story wasn't about the mines and the stones that were being mined, it was a side story to the main story. And what you said is that part caught my attention more. I was like, wait, is that really what happens in these mines? Is that what people go through to get these stones? And a lot of I was unaware of just how what's the word, bad, I guess is the word. The people who work in the mines are how they're treated, the villages in these areas, because a lot of times they're in rural areas, and to get to even do what you need to excavate the mines tends to not just take land from the indigents, but also it destroys their ecosystem, and there's a whole ripple effect to you know, what it can take to get some of these stones, and I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, just so that you can wear something that's sparkly, and it kind of makes you think, doesn't it? It's it's
Yeah.
but most people won't think about that when they go out and buy a piece of jewelry, and that's not their fault. That's just the way we've all been
Right.
we've all been bred to be, isn't it?
Right. Yes. Like in the grocery store, so I'm originally from Nigeria, and I'll have family who will come and visit, and or friends, and somebody remarked once that, in the store there's a lot of meat and eggs and stuff like that, but they never see
Yeah,
the animals. Like, where
yeah,
are the animals? Because in
yeah,
Nigeria you'll see cows and you see chickens and you'll see goats, you see everything, so you kind
yeah,
of know where your meat's coming from. And so
yeah,
they're like, where are all these animals coming from? I'm like, nobody
yeah,
likes to talk about how the meat gets here. Just just keep quiet.
yeah. Just buy it and eat it. Yeah,
Yes. So yeah, it's just I think it's just because I think more often than not, people just don't know what goes into getting things
oh
to the
yeah,
point where you see that to the finished product. Same with meat and with sparkly stones. And not to say I'm coming
mm.
down on anyone who wears them, because I think I am, or I was, just as not as knowledgeable. But over time, you start to see things, and if you're paying attention, you can pick things up and say, that just kind of doesn't seem right.
Well, yeah,
And
that's it.
yeah,
And I think it is changing. More people there. There's quite a lot of people in the jewelry industry now that are realizing this. And it was you just people didn't ask questions because they just didn't know. And it,
yeah,
like you say, you buy things in the supermarket and you don't think about where it's come from.
mm-mm, no,
It's all packaged,
yeah,
and looks nothing like you say. I mean, I don't eat meat, but like you say, it doesn't look like anything that it doesn't look anything like the animal. There's
yeah,
no relationship between that and where it might have come from.
yeah, yeah. Then regarding fair trade, there are specific guidelines that have to be followed for products to be considered fair trade, correct?
Yeah, there are with metal,
Okay.
with gold. There
Okay.
are there are specific guidelines they have to, and things they have to meet in order to make sure it's fair trade, which is probably why it ends up more expensive.
Mm,
Um, things like safety of the miners and things. When you look at the documentary that I saw, and some of them have got they're not wearing any shoes, and there's no safety precautions put
mm,
in place at all. Um, and like we've already said, they're being paid hardly anything, but it's like they've got no choice in that. So yeah, there are
mhm,
specific criteria they have to meet um, to be certified as fair trade for gold.
yeah.
In gemstones, there isn't any official certification at the moment. There are people working to get that put in place, but it's a bit more difficult than with stones.
Okay.
For some reason to have that in place. But there are a few kind of groups. There's some of my stones that come from there's a company. The company's called 1948, and they've got a mine in Sri Lanka, and they've been working with in Africa a group of women miners
Mm,
um, that are, and sort of to make sure that they've got the standards, and they're meeting the same kind of fair trade standards as they would do with metal, or even better, I think. Um,
okay.
so yeah, hopefully that will come at some point with stones as well. But as I say, there are a lot more people in the industry, a lot more jewelers and people that are selling the raw materials that are realizing that there is a problem,
Mhm,
and asking questions. And that's what it's about. It's just
yeah.
getting people to ask, where is this from?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think things will change overnight, but small incremental changes help, and eventually,
Yeah,
will add up.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's all we can hope for, is that we keep and keep refusing to buy. I'll keep
Yeah.
refusing those stones where I don't know where they've come from.
Yeah.
And keep getting that message out there. I think the kind of younger generation of people that are coming and buying from me now really are, lots of them really do care about where everything has come from, and it's probably to do with more, it's more kind of in the media to ask where everything has come from. So people do want to know where their food has come from, and obviously climate change is helping that as well. And
Yes.
so they're asking, and sort of how far has this traveled to get to me, and so I guess that kind of that travels down to everything, and people will start asking more questions.
Yeah. Good deal. And thank you. And I hope conversations like this also will just get people thinking, at least. If it's at least on your mind, I think that's a step in the right direction to even just start thinking about it.
Well, that's it. If you can just not even change someone's mind, but just show them that exists, that just put the information in their mind for one person, then obviously that's done some good, and that one person might tell another person.
Yes. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Anna. So what do you anticipate the future is for Anna Fine Jewellery?
Well, I will start running my wedding ring workshops again.
Yes.
Hopefully. No, I will start running those again. Well, I've got down the 5th of September as my start date to do those again. But we'll see what happens. As our COVID restrictions have been relaxed a bit here, some people have been going a bit crazy, and there's been scenes of streets in London with thousands and thousands of people all hanging out together and not taking any notice of any of the social distancing stuff. So we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, that's what's happened in America, isn't it?
Yep.
Obviously, it's
yep.
Second wave has come in America. So, and usually we follow America. So I'm kind of expecting that to happen here. We've already had Leicester has had to be locked down again. So there's a whole town.
Oh,
Leicester,
wow.
a town or a city has had to be locked down again. So we're all kind of expecting that to be happening. But yeah, once that's all sorted up, because it's just me, and obviously lots of my business is already online.
Yeah.
Then things like this are not really going to affect me in that way too much.
Yeah.
What I have found is that I've had less wedding ring inquiries, and more sort of maybe sort of middle-aged older ladies that have obviously been at home a bit fed up because they can't go out, have been sorting through their drawers and finding old jewellery and getting in touch with me and asking me to remodel it, which is great.
Oh, nice.
So possibly my customer base has changed slightly, although over the last couple of days, I think because weddings are now able to take place here and people must be on waiting lists for the registry office, I've had a couple of people in the last couple of days sort of say, can I have my wedding rings in 3 weeks time, because we're getting married then. So they must be on waiting lists because they've had their weddings cancelled, and all of a sudden being told, right, your wedding's now.
Oh, right. Yeah. So jump to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So I don't see that it will massively change. I will be if I continue how I am at the moment. I mean, I'm making a living out of what I'm doing. I'm not having to do anything else. So if I can continue what I'm doing, I'd like to have maybe a bit more time. We've moved into a house that is in need of lots of love. So I'll put it that way. So being able to maybe cut back and have a little bit more time just to get that sorted would be nice.
Yeah.
But I'm quite unlike lots of people that want to grow and get bigger. As long as I'm earning enough that we can keep the roof over our head and we can eat and we can go on holiday once a year and buy the things we need, then that's all I want, really.
Yeah, I like that your goals are achievable, and and humble, and it's what works for you. So,
Yeah, I'm quite happy to just see, just see where it takes me.
yeah. Yes. I know with this pandemic, I think we're all just in kind of a watching and waiting and we'll see what happens mode, because we don't really
Yeah,
have a choice.
it does make it kind of difficult to plan anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just today there was I had an email from one of the people, one of the wedding fairs that I do, asking about if people want to book for February, and it's kind of like, oh well, yeah, I do, I think,
Yeah.
and it's it's quite hard to think past kind of like the next couple of weeks at the moment.
Yeah, because I know, having been scarred by 2020, it's hard to say anything definitively because that could change. I mean, yeah, it's hopeful that February of 2021 will be a definite go, but we don't know.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that last year, but this year, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's making us all live in the moment a bit more and appreciate what we've got now, and
Yeah.
just enjoy now,
Yes.
rather than kind of everything's about what we're going to do in the future.
Yeah, running too far ahead. And yes, and you're right. I think,
Yeah.
a lot of us, myself included, are guilty of missing the present because
Yeah.
we're looking to the future.
Yeah.
Well, Anna,
So yeah, hopefully
if
it slowed us all down a bit, perhaps.
yeah, and I think that was a good thing. Well, okay, no, I didn't always think it was a good thing. There were moments during the slowdown where I was like, this has got to end. But then there were times when I thought, this is a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
not the pandemic, but being forced to stop, being forced to stay still.
Yeah.
Because then you get to think, and then when you think,
Yeah.
you can see clearly when you slow down enough to think things through and to really plan and all whatnot. And for me, with some things I was doing, I realized, I don't need to be doing all this stuff. Why am I doing this? And why am I not doing this? So it was good in that sense.
Yeah, I think there will be some good come out of it. And obviously, I know that, I feel incredibly lucky that we've got a garden, and we live in the countryside anyway, so things haven't changed massively. But obviously there are lots of people that are living in a flat and don't have any outside space, and it's summer now, and it's and obviously we can go out now, but I know that kind of my experience of just being able to enjoy the fact that we had to stay at home was actually, it was an enjoyable experience to have to stay at home, because it meant that I could do work in my garden and on the house.
Yeah.
So obviously, different people's experiences are going to be very different.
Yeah. And I do appreciate the fact that it wasn't pleasant for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anna, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
So through my website form is the best way, because that's will come through to my email, and I do check that all the time.
Okay.
And I've got Etsy convos come through to me straight away as well. So yeah, email first, I would say, but Etsy second.
Okay. All right. So I will have a link to Anna's website, which is annafindjewelry.co.uk. And I just realized I need to specify, because it's spelled differently in the US than it is in the UK. So it's Jewellery, Jewellery. But again, I will have links to a link to her website, well, multiple links to her website and her contact form, so you can get in touch with Anna if you want to. Also, her Etsy shop again is Anna Fine Jewelry, Jewellery. ERY. And of course, I will link to that as well.
Yeah, one of us can't spell. I think it's probably us that can't spell.
Well, I think you guys like a lot more alphabets and we're lazier, so we strip it down.
Extra letters that, well, yeah, that's better, isn't it? Why have extra letters in something that you don't need?
To help
spell
with the
things how they sound.
Jewellery.
Yeah, jewellery.
Yes. Anna, it's been so nice catching up with you. I will continue to follow your progress on Twitter. I do like your updates, and so I will continue to watch and be entertained by what you're doing over on Twitter.
Oh, Twitter's where I vent my annoyance at our government mostly, but yeah.
Yes. And so thank you once again. I hope it doesn't take another 3 years, but I know we'll be in touch anyway. So thank you for coming back on the podcast and spending this time with me.
Thank you very much for having me.
You are so welcome. And I thank you for listening to the podcast. If you want to connect with me, you can go to convome.com, use the contact form, and that will come directly to my email, or you can email me directly at interview@convome.com. On social media right now, you can connect with me on Instagram at Convome Podcast, or it's the same handle on Twitter as well. If you are interested in any of my upcoming ETSU trainings and workshops, you can find those at convome.com and just click on the workshops and training tab. And once again, I thank you for listening to this episode. I will be back again next week.
Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review too. Visit convome.com to leave a comment or feedback on this episode.